It's time that you start your podcast, and this is how. Hey guys, my name is Laura Gomez. I'm the co-founder of TDC Digital Agency and the co-host of TDC Talks. And today, I'm going to walk you through our exact process to getting your episode available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, and so many other podcasting platforms that your audience can be on. So let's go ahead and dive into my computer. All right, so first things first. There's no reason why you should only be on one platform when you literally have free softwares that can make you available on every podcasting software. To be honest, when I created our first podcast, I was super surprised. I had no idea because there's really not that many resources that explain how it actually works. So I'm here to walk you through it. So we decided to use Anchor. Like you guys have heard, Anchor is super popular. Everybody is out there promoting it. It's free. So I was like, let's go ahead and take a look at it. We created our account. Everything was super simple. And then it was time to upload our episode. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how that process is. And then I'll let you know a little more about what comes after. So we're here on the Anchor platform where we have our cover art and the description of what our episodes of what our podcast is about actually. So this is super, super necessary. You need to have a description because that's the way that different podcasting platforms make you available. So we're going to go ahead to the right-hand corner and we're going to click on New Episode. Once we click on New Episode, then we see, let me zoom this out, then we see this whole full screen on what we can upload. For our personal podcast, at the beginning, the first few episodes, we literally just put in the audio and that's it. Now that we have a little more experience, in our library, I have an intro in Spanish and an intro in English because our podcast is in both languages. So you might be asking, how does that work? Well, on some episodes, we do a Spanish guest and we speak in Spanish. So the intro has to be in Spanish. And then on other episodes, it's all in English. So I make the intro in English so that it matches. So let's say we're doing an English episode. So I'm going to click on the English intro and I just add it to the episode. So this is because I already have it uploaded to my library. If I didn't have it uploaded, all I have to do is click right here to add and upload a file. So I'm going to my documents, to the audio, which is where I have the new episodes that we will be posting along. So how to podcast audio. That's right. We have a full podcasting episode on how to podcast. So if you haven't heard it already, if you want to know more about the whole process and the step-by-step and not just how to upload it to Anchor, then go ahead and check that out. It's on TDC Talks. You can find it on any podcasting platform and also right here on YouTube. I'll go ahead and add a little link right here at the top. So if you want to listen to it, go ahead and click on that. So I have the intro and the audio. The audio does take a little bit of time to upload, but it's not necessarily an eternal amount of time. So we're just going to wait for it to process. It normally doesn't take more than 5 minutes. That's literally if you're on super slow internet. And either way, Anchor is extremely fast. So just wait and be patient. Patience is a virtue. So, all right, we're gonna wait for this to load and then we're going to go ahead and save the episode and go on to the next things that we have to add. All right, so it's ready. That was literally less than 2 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and I moved it in order. So you do this by dragging and putting them like that. If you do want to add a sponsored segment, that means that you have previously recorded a voice commercial, then you can go ahead and add that in. The only way it won't play is if you have it completely last and if there's no audio that's coming after it. So if you do want to incorporate it into your audio, then what you can do is you can also just grab your whole audio file and click right here in the first option that says split into multiple segments. And that way you can put in your sponsored between your voice so it really does sound like a natural commercial. Let's say for our example that I'm putting it in between the intro and our actual audio. So I'm going to go ahead and save the episode once it's in the correct order. Episode title. This is super interesting because it works just like SEO on Google. SEO on Google is basically that you can be found depending on what people are searching for. This podcast, as you just heard, is about podcasting, about getting started with your podcast. So I want to make sure that my title really explains that. So I'm going to do step-by-step process to launching your podcast. You can use emojis in here, so get creative. Don't make it spammy. Remember that this is a very mature platform, so portray yourself as a mature brand. Go ahead and add an episode description. Why? Because different platforms require different things. Apple Podcasts does require descriptions on your episode, so make sure you explain what it's about. So learn from the TDC hosts, Laura and Gabriel, on how to launch your own video podcast. That's right. If you're indecisive about what to start first, either your YouTube channel with videos or your podcast, combine them and do it all together. If you want to know the exact process that we follow, well, listen to the podcast. Learn how to launch your own video podcast. In here, we can also add in links. So if I want to send people to the agency link, I can add that in and make sure to link it. And that's basically it. So when we go down, we see published date. This is super important because you don't have to be doing this on the exact date that your episode is going live. I like to, as you saw, I like to plan about a month in advance. So I schedule everything to come out Friday at 11 a.m., which is when our podcast goes live. So this exact episode will be for May 8th at 11 a.m., which is this Friday. And I come down and here I see more options to customize the episode. So on here, I can either decide what season this is. Maybe next season we start doing a different kind of style podcast. Maybe it's just us. Maybe it's us interviewing our clients, something different than what we're doing right now. Then I would do a different season. For this example, we're in season 1. So I'm going to add season 1. For our podcast, we do not follow an episode segment. So that means if you have never listened to a TDC episode, you're not going to be lost if you start on the episode that airs this Friday and not on our first episode. Since each episode has its own story, we don't put episode numbers. So that's something very important, and it depends on what style of podcast you're doing if you want to add it or not. We're not going to add it for our example. This episode is a full type. All right, this is a key important thing. When you're launching your new podcast on Anchor, you want to make sure that you're uploading a trailer because, and this has to be prior to your podcast launch date, because Anchor takes time until it gets you approved on every platform. The slowest platform for approval is Apple Podcasting, just because they do have more things to look at. So you want to make sure that you do this. Just to be safe, I would literally say 2 weeks to a whole month in advance prior to your podcast launch date. This is something that I didn't know when we were launching our podcast. So I was super lost on how much time it was going to take for our episodes to show up, if I had to do anything on any of the other platforms. And the answer is no. Literally, the only thing you have to do is create your account on Anchor and then go ahead and upload a trailer. It can even be a 1-minute little voice recording. saying what your podcast will be about. What you have to do is upload this in order for all the different podcasting platforms to get you approved and to have you on their platform. So this, I would literally say, takes about 2 weeks. It took about 2 weeks for us. Just to be safe, I would do it up to a month in advance. This, once you're approved, what that basically means is that you can go onto Apple Podcast, Overcast, Spotify, any different podcasting platform, and you can find your podcast name on there with your little trailer. So once you find yourself, that's your go, that you're completely set to launch. This is a full episode. It's not a trailer. So I'm going to go ahead and change it to full. The content, be very specific. If you do use bad words, go ahead and let them know. Why? Because we're trying to take care of the minors. The platforms are trying to take care of the minors. They want to make sure that they are focusing your podcast on the correct audience. So for us, our episodes are clean. We're going to go ahead and mark it as clean content. If you want to upload new episode art, go ahead and do it. Totally recommended. It's a great way to really stand out from your different episodes. Once you're all done, you're just going to scroll up and you can either save it as a draft if you want to come back and edit more things, or schedule the episode. In our case, I'm going to schedule it as a draft because I do want to add more information in the description. I normally add how to find us on Instagram, how to find the agency on LinkedIn, how to work with us, and I do add free little things that we offer. For example, the Instagram live template, the free 2-hour Facebook ads training, all that is in our podcasting description. So once it's all good to go, you're going to see your episode. You won't have any analytics yet because it's obviously not aired yet. Once it goes live, you can see your analytics and you can also scroll all the way down and hear your episode to make sure that everything works super smoothly. So this is the complete process to getting your episode on Anchor. Remember that the first time that you do it, you want to do it with a few weeks in advance just to make sure that you get approved on all the platforms. You don't have to do anything other than that. I was super confused because nobody really talks about this subject, so I wasn't sure if I had to create an account on Apple Podcasts, on Overcast, on Spotify, but you don't. Once you're approved, you're going to go into Anchor and you're going to click on distribution at the top. So settings and distribution, and then you'll find all the platforms that your podcast is available on. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a lot. And I really hope that if you're still kind of hesitant on launching your podcast, that this gave you a little push to give it a go, because it's honestly super easy and simple to get started. All right. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down below, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. Hey you, yeah you, thanks for watching the whole video. If you liked it, go ahead and subscribe or leave a comment below. If you want to find me on Instagram, you can search the Laura Gomez. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.